In 1988, NASA scientist and Iowan James Hansen stood before the United States Congress and made a statement that would change the fundamental understanding of our planet. The climate was changing much more than could be ascribed to natural variability. In short, the age of climate change was upon us. This pivotal testimony ignited national public and policy attention on climate change. But Hansen was not done asking questions or seeking out answers. Then director of NASA's Goddard Institute for Space Studies, Hansen turned to the only agronomist working for him at the time.
This question from Jim came filtering down. He's on the top floor. I'm like on the air shaft. The question that filtered down was, what will happen to food with these projections of the climate change?
With her expertise and experience as both a farmer and a scientist, Cynthia Rosenzweig dove into one of humanity's most complex challenges: understanding the nexus of climate change and agriculture. From early childhood growing up in New York, Cynthia found a passion for math and nature. She was encouraged by her father, a math educator, and aunt, a renowned landscape architect. Her fifth-grade teacher also influenced Cynthia's fascination with math and the natural world, with daily math puzzles and regular nature walks that taught students about plants and birds. Cynthia met her husband Arthur in the 1960s at Stanford University. In 1969, the couple moved to Tuscany, Italy, where they started a farm, an experience that would prove formative to Cynthia's farmer-focused career.
So we moved to Italy. The first morning, a neighbor came with a spade, a special hoe, to teach us how to make our garden. That was the moment I fell in love with agriculture.
In 1972, Cynthia returned to the United States and settled in upstate New York, excited to continue a career in agriculture. Cynthia attended Farmingdale State College on Long Island, gaining technical agricultural experience. She later enrolled at Rutgers University and obtained a Bachelor's of Science in Agricultural Sciences in 1980 and a Master's of Science in Soils and Crops in 1983. Cynthia began working at NASA's Goddard Institute for Space Studies as a graduate student while at Rutgers, and continued on with the institute after her graduation. Her first peer-reviewed journal article analyzed the effects of climate change on wheat-growing crop zones.
My first peer-reviewed journal article was in 1985 in the journal Climatic Change, and it took the projections coming from the GISS climate model. And it was an expert system. It was a different kind of model. The model that we used, that I developed there, was an expert system to give the rules for where different kinds of wheat can grow.
By the mid-1990s, Cynthia had made a name for herself, publishing dozens of articles and receiving her doctorate in plant, soil, and environmental sciences from the University of Massachusetts. During that time, she led the agriculture sector's contributions to the EPA's first assessment of the potential effects of climate change. It was one of the earliest such projections on the United States agricultural regions. Cynthia has been the lead author or coordinating lead for 3 climate change assessments for the Intergovernmental Panel on Climate Change. This work helped provide a basis for the United Nations Framework Convention on Climate Change, which contributed significantly to the 2015 Paris Agreement. In addition, her research directly supported the creation of agriculture adaptation plans for more than 20 countries. Cynthia made a breakthrough in 2008 when she created the new standard of climate and agricultural modeling, AgMIP, the Agricultural Model Intercomparison and Improvement Project, an organization of experts working together to improve the predictions and performance of world food systems in the face of an ever-growing climate crisis. AgMIP's detailed models and data guide policymakers and stakeholders to implement farmer-focused policies that improve global food systems amid the impacts of climate change.
Now we're all working together so that we can nail uncertainties, we can understand the processes, we can improve the models, and thus improve the projections, so we can develop adaptation strategies for all the different regions of the world.
Her work with AgMIP is applied at local, national, and global scales, covering topics from crops and soil to economics and policy. AgMIP programs are carried out in over 20 low and middle-income countries, involving over 200 policymakers and practitioners. AgMIP is producing measurable change in many countries and unique contexts. For example, research by Cynthia's team encouraged the government of Pakistan to update land use planning tools and crop cultivation information for local farmers. With AgMIP, Cynthia led teams in sub-Saharan Africa to develop an innovative regional integrated assessment methodology for climate change impacts. Regional integrated assessment was so comprehensive and well received, the stakeholders in Ghana and Senegal, among others, called for scaling up and building capacity to apply the methodology to more regions. Now, these research tools are being used to make farming and food systems more resilient to substantial shocks such as climate and COVID-19. Cynthia continues to push AgMIP to expand the scientific boundaries of agriculture planning, research, and action. Her methods of modeling and assessments are the gold standard for fighting climate change's effect on agriculture. Thanks to Cynthia's work and research, we are all more prepared to mitigate threats and fortify food systems against climate challenges. Her models have helped countless countries prepare for future climate problems and understand how the changing environment will affect crops and food security. We are proud to honor Dr. Cynthia Rosenzweig as the 2022 World Food Prize Laureate.